Peggy 3.
This was a fantastic experience today, being in the mocap suit, and it's incredible how when I look back at it on video, you know, me as a stick man without all my features, I can really recognize my golf swing as my own, you know, and I was obviously told to hit draws and fades today, and although the differences are, you know, somewhat subtle, I can totally see that that's a draw pattern, that's a fade pattern. So obviously for the user to be playing a game and trying to shape shots, it's fantastic to have the ability to actually change the shape of the swing. In your practice, that's when you do all your experimentation and you're messing around, and that's what I love about the game, is that I find as much joy off the golf course when I'm just practicing at home on my own than I do when I'm competing in big tournaments. And some of the crazy shots I love to do involve being around the green. And I think you may have seen Phil Mickelson do this in the past, but he's on the back of a bunker and you hit a shot that appears to be going forwards, but the ball flips up and actually goes over your head and goes backwards. And I think that's one of the coolest things in golf, is like you're putting all your energy in, you know, and swinging pretty hard to make a ball go forwards, but because of the loft, because of the, you know, the degree of the slope and the loft on the club, you're almost creating a degree where the ball is now going to shoot backwards. And that's one of the sort of like the you know, physics-defying feats that's capable, you know, you're capable of doing with a golf ball. So that's something I love to do. I think in golf, you're always trying to deal with adversity. Sometimes if you hit a really great shot, you know, if you've played an amazing recovery shot and set up an easy birdie opportunity, sometimes there's a sense of pressure that comes over you because you don't want to waste the great shot you've just hit. So occasionally when you do miss those putts, there's definitely a sense of frustration because of the great shot you've just played. And I think that's sometimes harder to accept than making a bogey, because I think we all know when you play this game, it's a game of mistakes, basically, and I think you have to accept them when they come along. But when you've hit the miracle shot and when you don't capitalize upon it, that can be frustrating. Preparation is such an important part of playing well. I feel that it's important to give yourself enough time. Whenever I feel I get rushed, whenever I add too much to my schedule during a tournament week or prior to a tournament week, things never seem to work out very well. So for me, it's to feel relaxed, it's to feel like everything is running at a good pace. And whenever I get rushed, things don't work out. So for me, time management is the key to my preparation. Standing in front of a huge crowd is something that's very, very hard to do for the first time. I remember at the Walker Cup, 1997, I was playing in New York. I was a young amateur, 17 years of age at the time, and there must have been maybe, I don't know, it felt like thousands and thousands, but the reality was probably 1,000 people around the tee, and that was the most nervous I've ever been. You know, I could hardly get the tee peg in the ground, put the ball on the top, and I hit a horrible cut out of bounds. You know, so it is a very, very difficult thing to do, but it becomes part of the job, and it becomes you get to the point where you actually stop noticing it. And almost the bigger the crowd, the easier it becomes, because it becomes just a wall of color. Sometimes the hardest thing is when you've got 15, 20 people milling around a tee, and you know, movement then becomes very distracting. If the old lady 4 people up is moving or crinkling a plastic bag, that's often the hardest thing. But when there's thousands of people, it often narrows your focus.